County, Wilmington, Ohio, 45177. Um, Going over, several things because I'm preparing myself um, thoroughly and methodically, and um, to where these things are kind of. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm probably ready now for this bank case, but let's talk about that for a minute. So right now, I pointed out and objected to Judge Stephen Wooliver's um, very can kicking down the road ruling of throwing everything under res judicata, and including new evidence and fraud upon the court. That's right here in Ohio, Wilmington, Ohio, 45177. Let me tell you the players thus far. We have Judge John William Ruddick. We have Judge Stephen Wooliver, who has stated that criminal conduct took place, but yet his court is not the means of justice. What? But then I was given Marcy law rights for that. But then we have the officer of the court and the board of directors for First National Bank of Lebanon, Ohio, by the name of Paul Revelson. I believe he is the grandson, the spawn droppings of Judge Paul Herdman, and so he lied in court. And there's just a whole slew of things that it's all starting to like anything, ladies and gentlemen. If you start out with bad intentions, as these folks did, and you continue, you're going to foul up. You're going to things are just going to get messy, and so it is what it is. So if you recall, on first and foremost, let's step back in time for a moment, and we can discuss Judge John Williams Ruddick's big long essay on social media. Did he lie on that? Well, you can go to the Board of Conduct's page and go in and read that. And yes, he did. On more than one of occasions. Like stating, I got permission from the Ohio Supreme Court to break judicial canons. No, you're a liar. You are a compulsive liar, just like your little spawn dropping. Compulsive manipulating little liar. What a disgusting, ew. Ugh. Anyway. And I can prove it. Come at me, I dare you, because I've got several examples of where these people have lied. So he states that Mr. Thomas did not bring any material facts to the floor. Well, that was a lie. That was a big one, wasn't it, Mr. Ruddick? I've invited these people to do a side-by-side, to do whatever it is they would like to do, to prove that I'm wrong. But it just so happens the United States Marine, who served honorably up against these two lying sacks of shucky ducky, they're losing because they're liars. They're liars. So this is what it says. What a judge is required to do when evidence of wrongdoing is presented, he is to apply the correct standard under summary judgment. Ohio Civil Rule 56, summary judgment can only be granted if there's no genuine issue of material fact. Sir, I presented to you state and federal crimes. Sir, I would say that's an abundance of material facts. Sir, the moving party is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. Evidence is viewed in favor of the non-moving party, me. What happened? Mr. Ruddick, your bank buddies. Oh, wait, that's your fellow judge, his bank, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's right. The same judge who let your sisters off the hook for menacing charges in Lebanon, Ohio. That judge, remember that guy? He let your sisters just go free uncharged. I think, what was there, 4 or 5 criminal charges, Mr. Ruddick? All just dropped. While Judge Paul Herdman, also at the time CEO of the bank, overseeing the docket, poof, gone. All charges dropped. Of course it was. If you presented evidence supporting elements of fraud, statutory violations, the typical creates material factual dispute. In that situation, which I did, summary judgment is denied, and the case proceeds to discovery or trial. Address material evidence, not ignore it. A judge is required to consider the evidence in the record if the filings, financial condition, blah, 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 maintain impartiality. I'm not going to go into that. But he then states, I see Mr. Thomas, he didn't appeal. Of course I didn't. Because your other buddy who was my attorney talked me out of it. Just after attorney Rick Getke of Rosen Dobines. Now, who runs Rosen Dobines? Well, Blaze Underwood. Who's that, you ask Tony? Well, let's see. If you would say the brother, I mean, this shit's like, I'm not going to use a state reference, but these people are all entwined. They could go to each other's family reunions. So, Andrew P. George, his sister, Christy Underwood, is married to Andrew P. George, was a partner at the law firm for the bank. Nothing to see there. Anyway, moving right along. These people, when their little manipulative ways are caught, they deflect, they reverse. They are the kings of Darvo. They hate that shit because you catch them. Let me explain something to you all. I'm going to say living anywhere. If you obtain a lawyer, you tell that gentleman, say, I'm recording everything. Shouldn't have a problem with that. And you, sir, are to have no private conversations concerning my case or anything in regards to myself. And when the judge says, I need to see attorneys only. Oh, well, that not you, buddy. Because there's nothing about my case that needs to be spoken of in private. And you can simply say, no, my employee will remain with me, or I will go with them. That's the only way that's going to work. So, piss off. So, moving right on. And again, if you live in Wilmington, Ohio, I'm sorry to say this. I would not hire. There's not one lawyer here that I would hire. I wouldn't do it. After knowing this system, I wouldn't do it. I'm not telling you not to. But I wouldn't do it. And unfortunately, many times that I've experienced when you go outside of Clinton County, many of them will say, no thanks. One of them even referred to it as kangaroo court. No thank you, and laughed. So, that's the legacy John William Ruddock has left. But anyway, I wonder if that was by design. So they could keep their dirty little secrets and nobody would want to come here and they could force people to get, local, state. Could be. So, anyway, material facts were presented. And then Judge John William Ruddock gave immediate summary judgment to his judges, Friends Bank. So, so there's that. But then, I'm going back to this conflict piece. I think it's 4 of the judges, again, I'll state this again, 4 of the judges wrote love letters, I call them love letters, character witness to Judge John William Ruddock, stating they know his character. Oh boy, do they now? Well, it would seem the board members disagreed. Now, I wonder why that would be. They said the guy refused to acknowledge his wrongdoing, and there was several breaches of his judicial conduct. Untrustworthy. Selfish. Okie dokie. That sounds like a good, upstanding guy. But then when you put it all together and you look at it and say, well, gee, his son, the derelict former law director who had me falsely arrested, that cost you taxpayers quite a chunk, and they don't care. Remember Pat Haley? Remember Mayor Haley? Hey, it's easier to spend other people's money when talking about lawsuits. They don't give a shit. They act recklessly and they spend your money to fix it. Right, Shady Brian Scheidecker? Right, buddy? Shady boy? Right? Of course. I'm not going to jump into that one. I will later. But so 4 of the judges wrote love letters, character references for Judge John William Ruddick. And when you read, and I invite you all to do so, you can go to the Ohio Board of Professional Rules, Ohio Board of Professional Conduct, go to cases, then go to maybe the second page, possibly the third, about the third or fourth one down. You will find Judge John William Ruddick. Open it up and then go down to stipulations or speculations. I believe stipulations, one of the two, and you'll see the love letters at the bottom of some of the evidence that was presented. And you'll see these judges writing, "I've known him this long. He's good people. He's good people." Oh, you're calling a liar good people, Your Honors? Really? So either one of two things: you're full of shit, and you really don't know the guy, or you are an enabler of the guild lying. I mean, do you really blindly follow someone like that, or do you really know people? Maybe not. Like, damn, dude. I mean, you can. It's possible to know someone and just, hear their reputation and see some of their stuff, and you might be impressed by it. But hey, maybe you really don't know them. Maybe you really don't. So, I don't know what happened. Goodness. About to die over here. So, I did the proper thing. I filled out, disqualification forms, sent them in, and so I'm waiting to hear back from that. And that means they're going to have to disqualify themselves from another case that's ongoing. But and that, my friends, they keep it tight. But here's the fun part. I was torn between acknowledging it and doing the right thing, presenting paperwork for the disqualifications, or letting it go and just say, wait a minute, federal court judge, look at this. Is it any wonder why they ruled the way they did? Well, here's the fun fact. There's at least 3 things that if they don't rule in my favor on at least those 3 things, oh my God, their names are going to be on it. That's for sure. And then I will tell you this much. I don't know, federal judges, what I'm reading, they don't give 2 shits about these people. They don't care. They're life appointees. They don't care. So that's good. But this is going to become a book, as I've started that. It's going to become an article in a very popular military magazine. I know that now. And their names are going to be attached. Just think about this. Judge John William Ruddick is a veteran. Let that sink in. As was Judge Paul Herdman. Both Army veterans. Let that sink in. Veterans. And that, my friends, is the only thing that drew me to Paul Herdman. That's it. That is it. That is it. What I know now, what I heard after the fact, the guy was a shyster, and there's many businesses in Lebanon, Ohio that, they'll laugh you out of their business when you mention that guy's name because he's that big of a piece of shit. From what I understand. So it is what it is. And you know what kills me is that people think, oh my God, he's saying that about a judge. They're human freaking beings just like you. But worse, they are tasked with upholding the freaking law. They have sworn an oath to do so. And then when they use that powerful tool to cause harm with intention, gee, come on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Semper Fi, God bless. Again, I pray for all these people. I do. Goodbye.